Hi, this is Britt Mitchie, and this is my PDF presentation or PowerPoint presentation on the acceptance of intervention in birth. What will women accept? The Journal of Birth Issues and Prenatal Care featured an article from authors Josephine Green and Helen Baston in March of 2007. They studied women using questionnaires antenatally and postnatally about their willingness to accept birth interventions. They compared a data set from 1987 to one in 2000. So as you can see, this is a older study, but still has some significant relevance today. The questions ranged from antenatal expectations for birth, plans for comfort measures, fetal monitoring, acceleration of labor, episiotomy, and induction. What was found, or one of the things that they found by going through the data, was that there is a positive correlation with the willingness to accept intervention and percent of instrumental or operative birth rates. And you can kind of see when you look at the data set here how the increase in their willingness to accept their interventions, they got what they wished. The percent of instrumental or operative birth also went up pretty dramatically. So what does this mean? Why is this important to us? The social constructs are kind of the social norms or societal norms that are associated with this. Is over time, women's acceptance of the medical intervention, technology intervention, epidurals, those types of things has increased pretty dramatically to the point where it's normal. It just is normal to them. In the office, when I ask patients about their birth, what type of birth would you like? They just say vaginal, and it's almost expected that they're going to get an epidural. It's weirder that they request natural childbirth or physiologic childbirth at this point. And this study specifically showed that since 1987 to 2000, there was an increase just in that period of time. And imagine now, if the study was replicated closer to 2019, what we would see pretty tremendous. But essentially, this is just reviewing the data and kind of showing more specifically about the differences. But the conclusion remains the same. There's increased acceptance of interventions in birth over the span of time evaluated. So these are kind of the relevant conclusions that I think are important that I drew out of this. And that's that the authors reported a twofold increase in the women with a high willingness to accept interventions and the use of instrumental or operative birth. How that relates to the mode of birth, the authors postulated that that shift towards greater willingness has increased over time and increased with the use of epidural. So their mode of birth, whether they're having a physiologic birth or an instrumented birth, was directly correlated to that. And the willingness to intervention and how that correlated to epidural. So what does that mean for us as midwives and as providers to women, and what can we educate them on? How will it shape practice? And I think there needs to be more attention in the prenatal education about the cascade of interventions that are associated with epidural anesthesia. Educating women specifically about the twofold increase of an assisted or operative birth. But really just as midwives protecting the physiologic birth process. And we do that, I think, antenatally when we're taking care of these women and just reminding them that their bodies know what to do. And medical intervention is there if needed, if there's a dystosed labor or a baby in need, but otherwise allowing the body to do what the body was meant to do is a much better process. So offering and educating women about comfort measures in labor other than an epidural that are not associated with those same increased risk. Some hospitals have nitrous available. Doula support is phenomenal with protecting physiologic birth, position changes in labor, and water submersion as well. We need to normalize birth again. We need to give women their power back and let them understand that their bodies are where the power comes from, not from the synthetic oxytocin and not from the physician's interventions with vacuums or midwives, for that matter, forceps. And return birth to the realm of nature and remove it from the grasp of technology, and educate and protect to kind of fight this decline of unassisted vaginal birth, because it's becoming something that no one does, no one sees, and it's changing the cultures in labor and delivery. So here are my references. Thank you for your time.